Everybody. It is Friday, Juneteenth, 2020. Now, if you're watching this 8th grade and 7th grade, which I hope you do, as this is going to be the last of these poetry readings during the year, I will continue to do them during the summer. It may or may not be on this platform. I haven't decided yet. I might make a whole special teachery YouTube that is not connected to the Bayonne Board of Ed and start doing them there. We'll see. But, main point. Why did I say Juneteenth instead of June 19th? Well, traditionally, if you're not aware of everything that's going on out in the world, and if you're not aware of our own national holiday system, there has been an unofficial holiday for a numerous amount of years that is called Juneteenth. It is celebrated on June 19th. It is the day that the slaves in Texas were read the Emancipation Proclamation / a speech that goes along with the Emancipation Proclamation. To be honest, I wasn't taught anything about it in school until I reached probably college, and then it was said, and I said, "Oh, okay, that's a thing," and I walked away, and I didn't learn enough about it, and I kind of wish I had an early age. So just so you're aware, in 1857, and this is Jocelyn. She's brought me some tea. Thank you. In 1857, the slaves in Texas who should have been free for 2 years already were officially told that they were free, which means that for 2 years they did not know. And there is no excuse for why that happened. I have a bunch of bedhead as well. There's no excuse for that either, but different context. So why do I bring it up? Well, because as Jersey City has made it a city holiday and New York City has made it a city holiday, so it is becoming more and more prevalent in our society, and I think that it's an important bit of history that we should have. So on this Juneteenth, I have decided to start this poetry with the way that I've started poetry with most of you. Or end it with the way that I started it with most of you. For anyone that's watching that's not with one of my groups, the 7th grade started having poetry read to them every day in the way of Jacqueline Woodson. That's how we started. We started with Brown Girl Dreaming, so I feel like it would be nice to end Brown Girl Dreaming today. We have skipped around and missed a lot of poems along the way, and you should go and buy the book if you haven't and read it yourself. It is wonderful. But I believe that I also started poetry with the 7th grade now, when I taught them when they were 6th graders. I started them with Langston Hughes. So to make things cyclical, as that would be, which once again means a cycle, we end where we begin. So I will read you today some Langston Hughes and some Jacqueline Woodson, and then we will be done. And that will be the last one of these of the school year for 2020. So, a poem I have not read to you by Langston Hughes. It's called I Loved My Friend. I loved my friend. He went away from me. There's nothing more to say. The poem ends, soft as it began. I loved my friend. That's it. I thought that was really sweet. A real good way of presenting the fact of some things are just simple like that. They start the way they began. And sometimes it's nicely. Okay. On to Miss Jacqueline Woodson. We start with a poem called The Revolution. Don't wait for your school to teach you, my uncle says. About the revolution, it's happening in the streets. He's been out of jail for more than a year now, and his hair is an afro again. Gently moving in the wind as we head to the park, him holding tight to my hand, even when we're not crossing Knickerbocker Avenue. Even now, when I'm too old for hand-holding and the like. The revolution is when Shirley Grisham ran for president, and the rest of the world tried to imagine a black woman in the White House. When I hear the word revolution, I think of the carousel, with all those beautiful horses, going around and around as though they'll never stop, and me choosing the purple one each time, climbing up onto it, and reaching for the golden ring as soft music plays. The revolution is always going to be happening. I want to write this down, that the revolution is like a merry-go-round, history always being made somewhere. And maybe for a short time we're a part of that history. And then the ride stops and our turn is over. We walk slowly toward the park, where I can already see the big swings empty and waiting for me. And after I write it down, sorry, that was a yawn. And after I write it down, maybe I'll end it this way. My name is Jacqueline Woodson, and I am ready for the ride. How to listen, which is the way that she started this. How to listen number 10. Write down what I think. I know. The knowing will come. Just keep listening. A writer. You're a writer, Ms. Vivo says. Her gray eyes bright behind the thin wire frames, her smile bigger than anything, so I smile back. Happy to hear these words from a teacher's mouth. She is a feminist, she tells us, and 35th grade hands bend into desks where our dictionaries wait to open yet another world to us. Ms. Vivo pauses, watches our fingers fly. Webster's has our answers. Equal rights, a boy named Andrew yells out, for women. My hands freeze on the thin white pages. Like Black's, Miss Vivo, too, is part of a revolution. But right now, that revolution is so far away from me. This moment, this here, this right now, is my teacher saying, "You're a writer," as she holds the poem I am just beginning. The first 4 lines stolen from my sister. Black brothers, black sisters, all of them were great. No fear, no fright, but a willingness to fight. You can have them, Dell said when she saw. I don't want to be a poet. And then my own pencil moving late into the evening. In big fine houses lived the whites, in little shacks lived the blacks, but the blacks were smart. In fear they took no part. One of them was Martin with a heart of gold. You're a writer, Miss Vivo says, holding my poem out to me, and standing in front of the class, taking my poem from her, my voice shakes as I recite the first line. Black brothers, black sisters, all of them were great. But my voice grows stronger with each word because, more than anything else in the world, I want to believe her. Every wish, one dream. Every dandelion blown, each starlight star bright, the first star I see tonight, my wish is always the same. Every fallen eyelash and the first firefly of summer, the dream remains. What did you wish for? To be a writer. Every hands up penny found, and daydream and night dream, and even when people say it's a pipe dream, I want to be a writer. Every sunrise and sunset and song against a cold window pane, passing the mountains, passing the sea, every story read, every poem remembered, I loved my friend, and when I see birches bend left and right, and nay, answered the child, but these are the wounds of love, every memory. Froggy went a-courting, and he ride, brings me closer and closer to the dream. I wanted you to have context for the I loved my friend part of this. we already read the next poem. It's called Earth from Far Away. We already did that. You can go back to one of the older ones and see. Each world. When there are many worlds, you can choose the one you walk into each day. You can imagine yourself brilliant as your sister, slower moving, quiet, and thoughtful as your older brother, or filled up with the hiccuping joy and laughter of the baby in the family. You can imagine yourself a mother now, climbing onto a bus at nightfall, turning to wave goodbye to your children, watching the world of South Carolina disappear behind you. When there are many worlds, love can wrap itself around you. Say, don't cry. Say, you are as good as anyone. Say, keep remembering me. And you know, even as the world explodes around you, that you are loved. Each day, a new world opens itself up to you and all the worlds you are. Ohio and Greenville, Woodson and Irby, Gunner's child and Jack's daughter. Jehovah's Witness and non-believer, listener and writer Jackie and Jacqueline gather into one world called you, where you decide what each world and each story and each ending will finally be. And that is the last poem in Brown Girl Dreamin'. And that is the last poem that I will read during the school year. So, I hope you take the meaning from that. The endings are what you want to see, and what you can create. Because as I've told you all year, and as I've told you every single time I've done one of these on a Friday, you are the ones to create the world that you want to see. And you will have that opportunity. That's it. So for the 8th graders, I don't get my ridiculous speech. And that's okay. My speech for you this year is to run wild and free and live the life that you want to see lived. And for the 7th graders, I hope to see you.